beyond, because with the transformation and so on. And it's a COVID related. So it's issues related to COVID and beyond.
Yeah.
And, we're talking to you, you know, in terms of as an entertainer, because there's certain specific impact it has. So my first, well, let's just introduce you. There's a question I've never asked you. We'll start with that question. How we got from Jeffrey Campbell to Assassin, and then how we got from Assassin to Sasco.
Agent Sasco. All right, so first of all, Jeffrey Campbell is the common denominator in all of those. So it's never from Jeffrey Campbell to anything else. But between the, so just to define the other two, because like I said, Jeffrey Campbell is a common denominator. And the two aliases, Assassin, I got the name in high school, 15, 14, something like that, beating desks, you know, clashing and whatever. So it's really lyrical assassin. And that was 97, 98. And of course, by the time I started to go to the studio and things like that, that was 99, 2000. And then by the time I started to make a name, it was 2001. And then boom, 9/11, and all of a sudden a name like that just, took on a little more gravity than before. You know, you know, Bounty Killer and things like that. That was fine. And then, you know, the name Assassin just, like I said, just became, you know, just a little heavier than before 9/11. And then, you know, I started to feel that, you know, with trying to get things done and just going about doing business, and, you know, it becoming an issue several times. So it was clear then that I needed to create some sort of alternative or total departure from it. And then, you know, on a different side of things, it's also like, you know, like I said, that name was me at 17. You know, by the time I was, you know, 24, 25, became a father and started to really evolve in my thinking and everything. And so I think I needed just a more refined version of that. So the name Sasco is actually a derivative of the name Assassin. So people used to call me Sasco as like a nickname from Assassin. And then the agent part of it now came from 2006. I wanted to motivate myself after 2005. My mother died, and, you know, I was just going through a rough time. And so I created the alter ego of Agent 006, borrowed from the James Bond series.
007.
06. Yeah, and then when 07 came around, now you can't be 007 because James Bond gone with that already. So I started to use the two, Agent and Sasco, and then eventually it became a thing. And the other reason is, third reason is, the name Assassin is a regular English word. You have littered all over the internet with, especially for IT searches and things like that.
Yes.
So it wasn't serving me well for IT purposes. So I needed a name that would be more unique to myself. So Agent Sasco also delivered that as well.
Great. You know, in the African worldview, you get different names as you go through life. Just like in Jamaica, people who know you from school day know you as one thing. People who know you from where you used to live know you as another. Yeah. And then as you go up, the names are transformed and they reflect. But, you know, my analysis, though, you know, I see some problems in the music. Desmond Ballington became Ninja Man. He created Ninja Man. The problem happened when he became Ninja Man. Some people say that Adidja Palmer created Vybz Kartel. But then he became Vybz Kartel. Because, you know, art starts reflecting life. Do you? I saw you did something recently, you know, Assassin versus Sasco. You know, when those two alter egos go against each other, what happens?
So I have a song on my new project coming out sometime this year, of the same name, Assassin versus Agent Sasco. And in the song, it's pretty much some banter between the two. What I can tell you is that Assassin is definitely, like I said, a teenager who, you know, is brash and you know, very confident, hardcore, cocky, you know what I mean, all of that. And Sasco is just a mature version of you know, in the evolution of that person. So it's like, yeah, just a more mature learned, experienced.
But for me, the common element is lyrical potency.
Yeah, absolutely. And even
lyrics are sharp, social commentary. You can take an ordinary situation like going to work, like paying bills, like what is happening, and you create an image and a picture that people can identify with, and put through that wicked rhythm. It works.
For Sasco though, so the perspectives are different because Sasco sees it from a more mature perspective. So, so once again, some things will be common between the two. So yeah, the lyrics are going to be potent, but what's going to be the perspective? And at all times, the perspective of Sasco is just going to be more mature because Sasco started in my more mature state. So for example, I'll give you just a couple lines of the song. So Assassin starts off saying, 2001 and still there, you me no gone yet. Who better than me lyrically don't ban yet. Sasco, you in your backyard garden. Me a roll through the valley and on it. Then my response is, cool young bud, cause you no storm yet. Yes, you're full of lyrics, but you still can't perform yet. You know, my one class, and you're not even finished 6th form yet. You didn't even get the first #1 yet.
Perfect. Yeah. Because the problem happens when an artist cannot mature. When an artist is trying to be...
No, not an artist, an individual.
An individual. Thank you. But there's a wonderful quote, that I like to remind people of from Muhammad Ali. He says that if you believe the same things at 50 as when you were 20, you have wasted 30 years of your life.
Absolutely. But even going back to the idea of becoming the persona that you create, I never forget Donovan Germain, who used to manage me when I was just coming out of high school and a young artist and wanted to learn and pursue music. I never forget he said, never believe your own PR.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I understood it fully at the time, but then eventually, I realized that. So I can be Assassin all I want on record, and I can, understand that I need to maybe represent that, when I'm on stage, blah, blah, blah. But just understand that off the stage and when the camera is off, then that's not who you are. And, that's not who I am to my family and to my friends and, things like that, like to understand exactly what it is. And so even now, day to day, I'm like going through a store and people are like, yo, wait, so where your entourage? Are you one?
Exactly.
Because I'm, once again, Jeffrey Campbell is the common denominator. That's the person that's always there. That's who I am accountable to, not either of the two.
Yes. No, very good. I'm happy we had this conversation because I've always wanted to, because I can see a clear, and your life comes through your music. Because even the Hope River project, again, is something that you had to do, but that's the time to do it.
Yeah.
You could pull all the pieces together and just give gratitude and give thanks for all the pieces that shaped you. Okay, we are now. How has COVID impacted you personally?
So in the sense that I am a part of the world, and therefore anything that impacts the world on this level, certainly I'll be impacted by it. But at the onset, I decided to manage my perspective on it. And so since it's not a situation where the rain is falling on my house top only.
Alone.
Yeah, so I wasn't going first. So there's nothing to take personal in it. And I think that helped me to just, like I said, manage my perspective. So it's been a great time for me to, first of all, I'm running a 5K pretty much every day now. I never did that before COVID.
But I usually pass you on the road sometime, when I'm doing my 5K and you're a couple times you're driving to the gym,
Yeah. To my venue, because it's not the gym, but like I said, I run a 5K pretty much every other morning, or sometimes every morning.
Where do you do this? Where?
I'm not gonna share that.
Well, I do mine 3 times a week up at Heart.
But you must share that night, Godfather.
No, but guess what? Heart is a secure venue. You can't get in there if you go to the gate unless you say you're with me. Them now come.
Let me tell you something. In a Jamaica land, we love, God bless it. I don't consider nowhere secure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in any case, I've also, like, I like to do things around the yard and different projects and stuff like that. So COVID has afforded me the time to do so without the guilt of feeling like I need to get back to my day job.
Yeah.
And you know, outside of that, yeah, of course, spending a lot more time or consistent time around family, and you know, more time in the studio. And I think I must say that I think this space of life is more in alignment with who I am at my core. Like I think I'm some old soul that this 2020 life where, you know, everything is moving at 100 miles per hour is not really what's best for how I guess want to be. And even before COVID, I did make a conscious effort to come off the treadmill every now and again and just take a day, a random Tuesday. I'll be like, I'm not doing anything today. I'm just gonna, you know, go in the garden and you know, just freestyle, whatever. But you know, it shouldn't be, oh boy, thinking about this or that. So with COVID now, it's given me the opportunity to appreciate that even more. And whenever this thing is over, if it ever gets done, I'll be sure to observe that still.
You know, I find it very interesting the way you approach the answer. Nothing about how things locked down and the tour now go on and you can't go nowhere. You've talked about all the positive elements that you have, just acceptance and working with the program.
Yeah, well, there's not much else to do, and that is coming from even the whole evolution of Sasco and evolution of Jeffrey Campbell is choosing a perspective. Like I've come to understand the power of choosing a perspective.
Your own narrative. You write your own narrative.
Absolutely.
Write your own story.
So you know, the glass half empty, half full, and so it's just how I see things nowadays. And yeah, you know, so okay, so for me to be lamenting about things that, you know, like, you know, no shows that keeping, I mean, like, you have people losing all kinds of different aspects of them life and losing them life. You know?
Exactly, people losing life.
So, you know, we give thanks. Like, if you watch all of my Instagram posts, there's always hashtag give thanks on it, because gratitude is also a cornerstone of you know, how I go about life, and you can always find something to be thankful for in any situation. So that's what I choose to say.
You have your own studio, right? You have your own studio.
Yes, I'm at home right now. I'm in the studio now. Yeah.
How did that come about? Because again, it must have been a conscious desire. There are some people who they make money, but then it goes out in the entourage, you know, and flossing and endorsing and so on and thing. Yeah. You built a studio. Studio don't just build themselves.
No.
What happened?
So it started from. It started from me recognizing that I need to find what my avenue is to be, you know, in terms of my contribution in the space of music. And I recognized that I wasn't going to get any fulfillment from being in the full popularity contest necessarily. And I wasn't going to serve people who might, or who appreciate my work and how I do things. I wasn't going to serve them doing that either. So I decided that I need to be doing bodies of work, albums, EPs, and stuff like that. And that started with the theory of reggaetivity. Now, in recording that project, I realized that, okay, you record a piece of the song down here, so you go home and you're listening to it and decide, boy, I need to change something. When you try to book the time not available, or you try to book it somewhere else, but they don't have the same plugins. And, you know, it just became a very cumbersome and confusing and frustrating process. And, you know, so it became evident that I'm going to need a space to work, you know, when I want, how I want, you know, and so that was the genesis of it. And then in talking to a good friend of mine who is a massive, very successful businessman, I was trying to save some money to invest in with a company that he has, because they have like a limit or a minimum as to the investment that you can.
How much you can put in?
Yeah. And so finally, when I'm pretty much, you know, there at the sum now, I'm like, all right, so I'm ready. And he says, boy, you know what? I must be honest with you. Based on what I know of you and your talent and everything, trust me, if you should invest even 1/5 of what you're planning to invest in this thing. The returns,
In yourself.
yeah, you can't, the returns will be just astronomical.
Yes.
And so even though I was planning to build a studio, the things that I was looking at all of a sudden just changed. Like, so, my speakers, instead of saying, boy, I need a speaker this type, all of a sudden I'm now in several tiers different of the speakers that I'm looking at, and, the equipment, and it has certainly just been a real blessing, and the best thing I ever done. It's the best money I ever spent. Absolutely.
Well, it's just, you are in your studio. I'm in my studio. Because surrounding me, as you can see, there's 3 computers, a big screen TV over there. This is just one section of the books.
Yeah.
But I transfer information into action, and another set of books going down that, and file cabinets with projects and so on. And I think, of course, you can see activities.
All right.
And you can see, sometimes we win.
Winning right now.
We're winning right now. So interestingly, you're in your studio, I'm in my studio.
Yeah, man.
You mentioned about EPs and albums and so on. But every now and then, you get an insight, literally an insight. And you come out with a one song. That's about, I remember the plastic rice.
Yeah, so sometimes you have to just, so for example, that was something that was topical and it was current, and you can't wait for a project to come out to put out that. By the time that gone, the plastic rice done and gone. So yeah, sometimes you have to just, move at something.
Yes. So again, anything around COVID specifically in response, anything that has impacted you?
No, so I mean, there's one song in particular that was inspired by, the current affairs, and that's a song. It's actually not my song, but I'm featured on it. Chevron, Quiet Giants, and it's more, although the immediate response or takeaway is, frontline workers and things like that, but broader than that, because you don't want a song that COVID done and it done with COVID.
Exactly.
In a broader sense, it's really just bigging up people who are quiet contributors in a very big way to everything happening. So anybody that you can think of who does anything at all for the betterment of society in their own way, those are the people that we're bigging up. So Quiet Giants is the name of that.
Okay. All right, our time is limited, but again, let's go now post-COVID, because you now have to recalibrate how you see the world and what your projections are, because certain economy of scale will no longer be there. I mean, the dream of being in front of 50,000, 100,000 people, the auditorium ram from corner to corner, the football field ram.
It's gonna return to that.
What kind of time frame are you looking at?
I'm no expert whatsoever, but all I know is that if we should look to the past to get clues and insight. This is not the first pandemic.
Right.
People who were enduring the Black Plague, or they ever that name. Give me another one.
It's true. 100 years ago.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
We everything in nature suggests that we'll
cycle. But again,
yeah.
But best estimate,
timeline wise, I can't say.
Best estimate is now the next 18 months. We will not be seeing that for a while.
For 18
12 months to 18 months.
But once again though, in terms of innovation, here we are, having this discussion with the available technology, and I've seen like people doing what do you call it, the driving for shows. So you will find that people will find ways of of course there are the live events. I've done a live show. It was very successful. So it only makes sense to find a way to exist with the reality.
By the way, how was the live show done?
It was right here in the studio. Set a camera up. I did an Instagram live. We also did live on Facebook. A couple of my musicians and just live stream, and it was great.
But the business side of that, you see.
So I got a sponsor. The good folks at Red Stripe sponsored the event, and we still have activity in terms of, well, for example, I told you earlier that I've been doing my little home projects. Well, there is a deal on the table. I won't say until it's signed, but with a local hardware chain that I'll be doing my DIY stuff, and there's something.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, you have to, like, you have to find ways. There's still, put it this way, there's always opportunity.
Yes.
And if you choose your perspective, you're able to find those. And so I encourage people to, as we move into this new time and this, let's say 18 to 24 months of, post-COVID or COVID, whatever, it's time to start seeking opportunities. I'm doing I do online training with a trainer every other morning with my wife. Yeah, my sister has been busy making masks. You have to find opportunities. That's what it comes down to.
So you work with what the universe offers you, huh? You
Absolutely.
work with it.
Absolutely.
One of the most interesting, entertaining concept I've seen was when you did a clash from your studio to Shaggy.
With Shaggy, yeah. Exactly.
No, we need something like that now. That was a wicked thing. Was that pre-planned?
It was fresh. No, it was very much spontaneous. It really just happened, and then we did it a second time in a more planned way. But I think the first one, there was just something special about the spontaneity of it, and just how magical it was. That was really incredible.
But this kind of era calls for something like that. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, going from studio to studio.
Absolutely, and I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of that as people, like I say, find creative ways of expressing themselves and using the technology at hand. My focus now is this project that I'm doing. I have a song will be released tomorrow. I don't know when this will be aired, but that's the 21st of May, and it's local. And yeah, that's the first single from the project, and yeah, that's my focus at the moment.
Let's see if we can squeeze in a little piece of it here now.
What do you mean?
And that's okay with you?
Yeah, man.
All right, let's see if we can just squeeze in something here. Because when I say local, we have to make sure we do not go local. So let's just try and squeeze something in. Is this it?
Because them don't give up, no. Possessed by the spirit in a them don't know. Searching for love from the likes of the photo. Amateur know she a go pro. So she shoot a video with a GoPro. New sex paper post no. I read that those now a steam fish and a okro. Say him a go mash up a chocho. Papa blue jaws and toto. No women are costing it with touch up a go. Should I know that's logo, it's a no-go. Yo, any man's a rape is a no-no. What I kick him, get it, think he meant to be dojo.
Oh boy. Listen, no, I mean, we talk about lyrical potency. You have a way of rhyming words that not supposed to rhyme. I remember from Hope River, there's a line that 1, 2, 3, 4.
Put the first and second and third, watch your blessings come forth. Blessings come forth.
Yeah. I mean, it never designed so. First and second and third and watch your blessings come forth. I mean, and there's other songs again, similarly when you talk about issues to do with you never go, no coke.
Never sell out or never sell dope. No, ironically, everything we say they say is dope. Yeah.
No, again, that kind of
the word.
Yeah, the word play. I mean, it's associated with more with the Calypsonians.
Yeah.
A lot of
I like
reggae music don't have much of that again, but the Calypso, old-time Calypsonians, in terms of how they the word play. Where you got that part you from?
Well, so I fell in love with music when I was very young. So, I was, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years old. As early as I remember, I was fascinated by not just music, but dancehall music and the DJ aspect of it. So like, Charlie Chaplin, it was at the time. Professor Nuts became a favorite really quickly because the storytelling and the jovial nature of the material.
Yes.
Lieutenant Stitchy, Papa San, those guys. So it's, so eventually in pursuing, unlocking this art form, then you start to go through certain mental exercises that kind of train your mind towards it. And so, so I'm able to recognize word plays from conversation. Be like, oh, then that was said that way, and, things like that.
Do you still read widely?
Not as much. My wife will tell me every day, not as much as I ought to. But I do read.
Yes, because I mean, in order for you to continue that word play and contemporary reality and so on and things, and the fact that you have children, so you're also there for them in terms of how you. I think, boss, one of the greatest thing is when you can work from home, so your children can actually see what you do for a living.
Oh no, yeah, and they are part of it.
To understand the backstory, not just on stage.
Sometimes Joshua is here engineering sessions for me, like
yes,
red light and things. So, and then of course Lauren wants to sing and express herself that sort of way. So it's it's good for them to see. My eldest, she comes in and she makes fun of me all the time.
Yes. No, listen, this was a great conversation. I'm really happy in terms of your perspective, COVID and post-COVID, and in terms of, again, this pause, the reflection. I love the expansion, your home projects, and maybe one of these days, I try and grow a lot of what I eat,
Yeah, man.
So I take that very serious.
No, absolutely. It's only sensible.
Yeah. And once you start doing things like that, the appreciation and the fact that that this too shall pass.
Absolutely.
This too shall pass, but you're making use of the time and so on in terms of what you have to say to Jamaica in terms of what we're going through now and so on, and how where we are in the process and the plan to reopen and to what's your final word?
I would really encourage people to take a very take responsibility in whatever way you can, so that you're not left reeling from this thing that is happening to you. You know what I mean? So it's happening, but it's not happening to you. It's happening, and therefore I would say, try to take whatever ownership you can and do whatever you can to navigate it as best as you can.
Let me share my perspective. That some people are paranoid. I am pronoid. I believe that the universe does some irrational things in my favor.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I don't say that things happen to me. Yeah. Things happen for me.
Amen. Yeah.
So we work with it, and I think you're on that same wavelength. Because you can't do any better than what you're doing now. You're doing exactly what you have been put here to do. And again, with the transformation and what you have become and what you're still to become, you see, the music provides a soundtrack for a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And they say that what people metabolize, consume them. And I'm sure the kind of music that you are putting in people's head, you can't feel guilty for it.
Oh, no, absolutely. I get fulfillment from it. And as a matter of fact, if the discussion was longer, because I have to go, but one of the things, the only frustration I ever felt from music and going through music was not doing content that I found fulfilling.
Yes.
And even though I was having quote unquote success with it, I wasn't getting the fulfillment from it, and I was depressed. I was, coming off stage and feeling like that was a waste of my time, because
yes.
It was not enough.
Well, just looking on, I've seen in lots of different contexts, and the great thing about what you do with your type of lyrics and so on, and you can hold your own in any kind of crowd. If it's hardcore dancehall,
yeah, absolutely,
you can hold your own. If it is ballads, if it is old people and so on, you can be there.
Yeah, man.
That's important. Listen, give thanks for brethren.
Yeah, man.
This is till we meet again.
Absolutely.
I walk your road every now and then. I will pass and we still heal up and things.
Yeah, but respect all the
we
way.
have a conversation, and from time to time we touch base, my brethren.
Yeah, man. Enough respect.
Stay strong. Say hi to the family.
Hopeful.
At Above or Beyond, we help organizations achieve success through our quantum transformation solutions. What's holding back your organization from achieving success? What's your biggest people challenge? What keeps you up at night? With 30 years of solid results working with the best, we are certain we can help you achieve your success. Some clients served include AIM Resorts, Cable and Wireless, Digicel, Heineken, Kraft Foods, L'Oreal Cosmetics, McDonald's, Nestle, Pepsi, Pfizer Drug, Ritz-Carlton, Sandals, Shell. We are your partners in transformation. We will provide powerful keynote address or motivational session, management consulting, executive coaching, business development, interventions to address critical human resource issues, change management interventions after mergers, acquisitions or downsizings, job satisfaction surveys, cultural and strategic alignment, executive hiring and psychometric assessments, customized workshops. For example, handling office romance and sexual harassment, team building, supervisory training, and customer service. Schedule your free consultation today. Above or Beyond can help. AboveOrBeyondJM.com